Looks like a big pile of rocks, doesn't it? It is a big pile of rocks. Believe it or not, this is the residual scrap material from quarrying travertine blocks to make travertine pavers and tiles, everything we use in the construction industry today. Our story begins here in the beautiful town of Denizli, Turkey, a very mountainous region and really close to the quarries. Let's head down there. Fascinating, this trip. Lots of dirt roads, and the amazement for me came from the amount of traffic, the sheer volume of vehicles that travel through this place on a daily basis is just staggering, and it's pretty well maintained. This is one of the original quarries the DSS SSD began using when they first started in the US. I'll go into detail with you later on why we had to quit using this quarry, but this was the very first part of it in the beginning. As you enter the office at our factory at SS Dugaltis, you notice that it's not a really super high-end showroom. Most of the money, almost all the money, has been invested in equipment and the right personnel to do the job. So as part of a factory that runs extremely tight calibration control, part of the factory's initiative was to buy their own equipment and make sure that they're fully stocked all the time with the hardware that's necessary to work on the equipment as needed for calibration, which a lot of the factories over here honestly don't do. As many as we've seen, I have not seen a room where they have parts for their equipment on hand, so if something goes wrong, they can fix it immediately. 15 days?
15 days worth of polishing material here, and every 15 days they got new ones in stock. So when the saw is going back and forth, cutting the stone, wires are hidden inside this for protection, and after a while they wear out and then they get replaced, and they have these in stock as well, so that there's no downtime.
No downtime.
No downtime.
Efficiency.
Yes.
Bullnose edge. Bullnose edge. Where's the eased edge? Eased edge, obviously chamfering top and bottom. That's when the blade is worn out. It goes, that's worn out. This is what they look like new. How many linear feet do they get per blade?
Yaklaşık 350'den 4 konteyner falan yapar.
4 containers worth of
bir takımı.
On one blade.
On one blade.
And what's the
on
cost?
One set.
On one set.
Four.
And
four.
what? And
a set is 4 of them.
How much do they cost?
Kaça mal ediyor?
Yaklaşık 18.000 TL, 500 euro, 500 dolar falan.
$500 a set.
A set, and they do one block.
4 containers.
They do 4 containers. Okay.
For $500.
Perfect.
Of course, you have the 3 cm.
Yes, and the 5 cm.
You have the 2-inch, yes.
So, at this factory, safety is important to their employees. So there is safety equipment. Safety boots, safety vests,
eldivenler,
gloves, everything. The employees are well taken care of. It may be difficult for you to hear, but I'm going to do the best I can. We're going to go in and take a look at some of the production in the factory. These are the gang saws that are used. They make a horizontal cut, and then they'll come at the bottom and make a vertical cut at the bottom to cut out what they call a blank. This blank is then picked up and carried over to another saw where they cut it down into manageable sizes. It's still not yet quite the size it's going to be for the finished product, but they've got it narrowed down and they know what broken material they have to get rid of at this point. The blanks are taken over now to be cut down to a size which is approximate. It's about 1 inch to 2 inches bigger than it needs to be. It'll still need to go through the rectification process to make the sizing square and rectified. It's pretty amazing to me how we take these blanks, and you'll notice they start out with these larger format, more formatted like the 16 by 24. That seems to be the way that everything works out. But notice how they have to cut the ends off of these pieces and they become scrap. Some of them get used as a 6x6 or smaller or mosaics, but a lot of them end up in the scrap pile. Now it's going to be off to the calibration machine, and after that we'll get into the honing and the tumbling or chamfering machines as well. And the other thing is, you'll notice, I'm going to show you this huge pile of debris that's left over from that block. This is a lot of waste material. The waste is carted off and ends up going into what you saw at the beginning of this video, a huge pile of debris. This is what I would consider hiking in Denizli, Turkey.
I'm careful about it.
Stone everywhere.
Honing.
Oh, these are the honing heads that are used when they're depleted. They get prepared for recycling. Now we're going to go, where are we going now to take a look at the actual quarry where the blocks come from? When these representatives come from Turkey over to the US and tell you that they have their own quarry, they really are leasing a section of the quarry. Each area of this gigantic quarry in Denizli, Turkey is actually leased out by somebody until they run out of space, and then they have to release new area. So don't buy into the fact that, hey, we have our own quarry. It's kind of all together. Some areas of the quarry have the lightest and light material in it, while other areas of the quarry have the darker colors that we know as noche or walnut. Let's head over now and take a look at where we actually do the selection of the blocks. Those are the vein cut blocks. I always wondered why every picture I got from the manufacturer or the quarry, whatever, they would always splash water on it. I kind of get it now. When you're out here looking at all of these blocks and they're dry, pretty much all of them look exactly the same. You can't really tell what color that they're going to be when they end up going through the honing process and then being tumbled. So they have to take a look at the way the veining goes and whether they're going to make it a vein cut or whether they're going to flip it over and make it into a cross-cut piece. This is just part of the process that they go through. The interesting fact that I found out on this recent trip was that each section you see over here is dedicated to one quarrier's area where they've quarried blocks. There's a bidding, just like in automobiles. They bid on these blocks and they'll get the most money they can for it. So as a manufacturer, you're looking for blocks with the least amount of inclusions and holes and degradation and the best color range. So this would have been actual base of a travertine pool at some point in nature. And as it piled and piled and piled and piled and piled. So these are laid out here according to how they came out of the block to try and get some continuity to the selection process. If you buy this block and then you go over there and buy that block and then you go over there and buy that block, because it's so far away, it could be a problem with more consistent color. You're never going to have super consistent color with natural stone. That's just the way it is, but keep it within the family. This is what the inclusions of travertine look like in their raw format. That's why you get some holes You can see where some quartz has been deposited into the stone. You can see the coloration of different things that might have happened during the time that was being formed. It's actually quite fascinating. This is the grading system on what they look for in the material. Classic, rustic. You see it's more blended. The light medium color. This is called nuance, which is a darker walnut color. This would be considered a standard grade. Standard grade, you will get some more holes, some more inclusions. And then you've got the sunset, which is in between the nuance and the light medium in color.
660 geliyorsun.
So he's there till the morning and till the evening. And then when the blocks start falling down, he sees them and he says, okay, I think this is good, you should come and get it. Or if they need something and he looks for specific ones.
Of all the factories I've been to, I'm not kidding, this has to be one of the cleanest and well-maintained factories I've seen. And I'm glad to be a part of this factory. This is where they begin the actual calibration of each piece. So they're going to cut these diagonally at first. On both sides, just in case there's damaged pieces. Notice how many pieces they had to take off. Now those will get used to make 8x16s, 6x6s. But here again, more scrap material. They get turned at the other end, and now they're going to get cut and calibrated on the other side to create the full 16 by 24 inch piece. But again, like I said, the other pieces you saw there were pieces that are destined to be 8x16s or 6x6s. And out the other side, where again, the scrap pieces are taken off. Now this piece is completely done. You'll see here that there are some pieces that have chips in them in the corners, or they're not right. Again, those will be used to make smaller sizes, and that's why you end up having multiple sizes in the end result. This machine is a chamfering machine. It's where they take the edge off of the stone and give it that soft, roundish corner, just so that it doesn't chip and it doesn't fall apart when you're installing it mainly. Again, it gets flipped the other direction so that the other sides are equal to the long sides. Now it's off to the surface finish of the material. Here's where the honing process takes effect. Now, there are different grits of heads in each one of these. There will be a 200, 400, 600 grit honing head that moves back and forth across the surface of the travertine until you get the desired hone you want on the material, which is then taken to a tumbling facility where the material gets lightly tumbled. And here's where the true personality and color range and all the variations of natural stone are finally visible. True actual tumbling machine that gives you the surface texture required for around pools. You can see pieces in there. After all the quarrying, the cutting, the honing, the chamfering, it is all sorted by hand to designate what color and what quality the material is.
We'll fill this up. Bu ivory değil mi? Ivory.
Yani bu kasanın sana koyu olarak gelme şansı
So
yok.
this is on its way to our store.
You know that light? Bak light. Ivory demiyorum bak. Light.
That is
Not
some
light.
perla,
Light,
which we call
ivory.
1000 perla.
So that's ivory. This.
Okay.
You see the production dates of this crate? It usually takes about from 2 to 3 days to fill up one for this quality.
One crate, 2 to 3 days of production. Everything else
entire
gets...
production that happens about 20,000 square foot, and you get one crate of this quality.
And everything else gets sorted out to be color mix or...
ivory light, but this is top of the line one.
And this goes to Distinct Stone Solutions in Houston, Texas. In tile.
3'ün 1.2'si. Onları da şeye gönderiyor, Ener'e gönderiyor. Koyuyor, sana gelen.
And this is going to Europe. Their sizes are 12 by 25.
Antalya Mix Easy.
Wow.
That's the easy edge I'm talking about, the 3CM. We don't get this.
Why don't we get this?
That's what I was telling you. We should do this.
Yes.
Myra Easy. Mesela bunu
Acidic issues. People
The
don't like
holes.
the, yeah. But look at the token part. They can fill this easily. Could be less price.
Mix üstündekini karıştırma.
Tabii,
Üzerine yazıyor
mix.
seleksiyona. Biz biriktiriyoruz, yolluyoruz ya.
So that's light mix. This is all ivory. This is ivory actually. This one's. This one's. Hadi bir tane ivory.
Kanka o sıra devam ediyor.
Öyle mi gidiyor?
I've been to a lot of factories over here, especially in the Denizli region. And our factory, one of the most impressive things for me was their conscientious, environmentally stable company. They reuse absolutely as much as they can. They filter their water and recycle it and then reuse the clean water for new cuts. Not only does this save the company money, but again, it's environmentally friendly, and the government has awarded DSS, SS Dugaltis, certification for being an environmentally conscious company. Stone.
And that's the shower.
Shower pan. This never did take off much in the U.S. Why do you care so much about the efficiency of your factory? What makes it important?
Fabrikanın çok
Taleplerini karşılamak için yaklaşık 100 konteynerden minimum ulaştırması lazım.
high değil mi? He says that he works with the biggest companies in Europe, and DSS is going to become a big one in the United States as well. So to keep up with their demands and then produce clean, desired material, they have to keep the factory efficient, and also they have to watch the global warming and be not a big factor to it. And they have to reach up to the number of 100 containers a month to keep up the demand with them.
So in doing this, we're producing the highest quality material, because in the end, you can buy cheap travertine, but you're going to get cheap travertine. There's a difference being made, and the difference is coming from SS Dugaltis. Thank you. Now, remember at the beginning of the video, I explained that we ended up stopping using the quarry that they originally purchased, and the reason was due to the extreme amount of degradation coming down from the surface. The quality just wasn't up to standards for the owner of the company, Serhan, and he decided to just buy his blocks that were better and not use the quarry that we already had. What struck me the most in this trip was how much material actually gets just tossed and thrown away, and what it takes to make one piece of travertine paver, and the rest becomes a pile. So what has become the all-time best possible material that you can put outside that's going to last the longest? Look at the Versailles pattern walkway that is still there 2,000 years later. Travertine, by nature, is the perfect imperfection in the natural world, which means it has imperfections in it, yes. But the beauty you get from it and the functionality around your pool exists today, same as it did 2, 3, maybe even 4,000 years ago. Travertine is by far the best product to disperse heat, to stay cool, and to be non-slip. Here's to hoping that you'll choose Stinkstone Solutions and SSD as your source for the best travertine money can buy. Thanks for watching.